You're listening to the Franchise Freedom Podcast with Giuseppe Grammatico.
Welcome to the Franchise Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, your franchise guide, the show where we help corporate executives experience time and financial freedom via franchising. Thanks for joining us today. A very exciting episode. We are continuing the series called The Importance of the Due Diligence Process, part 2 of 3. So we're on a second episode here talking through the process, and wanted to thank you for your questions and your feedback. And today that's why we're creating the series. So we're going to be talking a lot about due diligence and research and helping you find the right franchise. So for anyone joining us for the first time, we appreciate it. As I mentioned in the beginning, we help corporate execs experience time and financial freedom via franchising. So if you have a question about franchises, that could be a future topic to an episode, or if you'd like to schedule a call, we offer a free service. We are compensated from the franchise companies, and we offer a 20-minute intro call, which is essentially a call where we go over your franchise-related questions and concerns and figure out together in 20 minutes or less if a franchise could potentially be a great fit for you. So take advantage of that. GG, thefranchiseguide.com, and you can just click the book a call button, and looking forward to meeting you. So what are we talking about today? Well, we're continuing the process. We talked last week about part 1 of the due diligence process, which was information gathering with the franchisor directly via questions, via the intro and economics calls, FDD review, territory mapping, questions, leadership calls, and things like that. And now that you're fully educated on what the franchise is, the opportunity, the role of the franchisee, you understand the brand really well, to the point where now we move into step 2, which is validation. One of the most crucial parts of the process. And this is an area I definitely see people skipping, not really realizing they should be really focusing on this area. And what is validation? Validation is simply speaking with existing franchisees to get their feedback. We got the information from the franchisor. Now we want to hear the experience right from the franchisee, right from the person that is running these businesses day to day, to get their experience. And we're going to dive right into kind of what to be asking, or what you'll experience here. And keep in mind, every franchise company does things a little bit differently. And sometimes there'll be intros, one-on-one calls. Sometimes there'll be group calls, live group calls, a couple days a week. In other cases, there'll be pre-recorded calls. And everyone has different schedules. And if you're working during the day, the pre-recorded calls are great. The live calls are great too. You're hearing other people's feedback and questions that they have, about the franchise. And one-on-ones are great. And I tell everyone this. Franchisees are extremely busy, and they try to split it up to make it more efficient so that you can get the information you're looking for. And that franchise owner is not spending their entire day doing calls. They want to try to leverage, record them, do group calls. And so that's why you'll see the tendency to jump into a group type of call or pre-recorded call. So very important stuff. So, in this stage, now that you know a lot about the brand, we're asking questions like, what has your experience been, with the franchisor? How was the training, with the franchisor, not only initially, but the ongoing training? Questions I like to ask is, knowing what you know today, would you have purchased a franchise again with that particular franchisor? Since COVID, what has the franchisor done to step up? COVID changed a lot of things. So what have they done? We had a brand that was specifically, they offered in their business model, without getting into the brand name, was one-on-one meetings, and they switched to a virtual concept where now they're leveraging not only technology, but being able to work with offices across the U.S. and Canada. So definitely some changes. They definitely did things to make sure that to basically set their franchisees up for success. But these questions are great because you're hearing it directly from the the franchisees and their direct experience. Questions on financial could be, with the item 7, which will give you a high and low investment. Was that in line with the franchise agreement? Did you go above? Did you go more? Did you go less? And ask why. Why they felt they went over, why it was less. Did they hire a general manager from the very beginning and incur an additional expense? The overall experience, again, if you're getting positive or negative, dive a little bit deeper. And was a negative experience from the franchisor? Was there personal things going on in that person's life? Was the franchisor's training maybe not sufficient or needed improvement, and now that's all been fixed? So you want to ask and go 2-3 levels deep. The franchisees get it. They were in your shoes before, so they completely understand that this is a big decision for you, and this is a crucial part of the due diligence process. So you'll be asked to do the same after becoming a franchisee, in helping the brand with validation. Other things to be asking is, when speaking with franchisees, if you are planning on running the business semi-absentee, part-time with general manager, kind of running the day-to-day, maybe ask to speak initially with some semi-absentee franchise owners, because their pro formas are going to be a little bit different, right? They're going to have the general manager in place day one. So you're going to want to make sure that with that general manager, there's going to be an added cost. So did that, how did that affect the break even and profitability the first year? How quickly were you able to scale because you had that that person that is running it full time, and then whatever hours you're putting in. So this is just kind of a beginning list of questions, and as you're asking questions, it becomes a dialogue, it becomes a conversation, and other questions and ideas start coming up. So very, very important part, and this is part 2 of the 3-part, as I call, due diligence process, and it's done again in a certain way. Get educated on the business, then start speaking with franchisees, and then the final stage is getting to discovery day, meet the team day, confirmation day. There's many, many different names for this, and we're going to talk about when to be going to discovery day, questions, and what actual expectations, which is really a big part of this. And as I mentioned, you're going to be talking to franchisees, which may bring up questions to ask the franchisor. So it's this constant, talking to franchisees, going back to the franchisor, and you're going to have, I would say, weekly calls. Plan on 1 or 2 calls a week. I like to touch base with all families I work with at least once a week, and you're going to spend 1, 2, or 3 up to 3 hours or more, depending on your questions and how many calls you can fit in any given week. So really important here. As far as the last question I received today, the number of people you should validate with, that's completely up to you. There's no exact number, especially if it's in a group setting and you're talking with multiple franchisees and you're listening to pre-recorded calls. There's no exact amount. It's the time when you have all your questions answered, all your concerns addressed. You've had dialogue. You talk to maybe some semi-absentee franchisees, some full-time franchisees, and you have a good mix and have a generally good understanding overall. So hope you found this helpful. As I mentioned, I'm going to be using this with families I work with, and emailing throughout the process so that they're better prepared. But things we want to uncover as much as we can. Going back to the fit average day, what does that look like? Is the support there? Is the support ongoing? What happens in the event you have some turnover and an employee or someone on the staff needs to get retrained? What does that look like? So you just want to be really clear on having a full understanding of the business. So guys, I hope you found this helpful. Thanks again for your questions, and I really appreciate all your comments. And again, if you'd like to chat, I'm offering it here, ggthefranchiseguy.com, and just book a call. And even if you just had some general questions, even if it's just very, very beginning stages and you just wanted some additional information, let us know. We'd love to help. And within 20 minutes, we can figure out together if a franchise is a good fit. And if it is a good fit and the timing isn't right, we'll put together a plan as to what that all looks like. and kind of take it from there. So thanks again for joining us. Looking forward to connecting very soon, and we'll dive into part 3 of the due diligence process in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Whenever you're ready, here are 3 ways Giuseppe can help. 1. If you've ever considered owning a business of any kind, you owe it to yourself to get a copy of Giuseppe's book, Franchise Freedom. Download your free copy at ggthefranchiseguide.com/book. 2. Want to understand how successful executives make the transition from corporate to owning their own franchise? Join Giuseppe's next online presentation, Franchise Freedom: How to Escape the Corporate World and Have Financial and Time Freedom by Owning a Franchise, by going to ggthefranchiseguide.com/video. 3. Want to work with Giuseppe one-on-one to identify the right franchise opportunity for you, to navigate the process, and get plugged into experienced franchising advisors? Send him an email to gg@ggthefranchiseguide.com with one-on-one in the subject, and he'll send you all the details.